And we're switching back to English now to talk to Jonny Liberman, senior feature editor for MotorTrend, to talk about the tragic death of Paul Walker. Hi, Jonny. Thank you for taking the time talking to us.
Of course. How you doing?
Yeah, Jonny. It's been a busy week in a very weird, sad, I don't know, kind of way. I mean, we started with Paul Walker dead over the weekend, and it's amazing to me. It's almost a week now after that, and it seems like the news has already died, but it's a pretty important fact that happened, right? I mean, sadly 2 people died, but there's much more to that, right?
Well, I mean, maybe out in Miami it seems like it's died. I mean, out here in Los Angeles, I mean, a lot of people knew both Roger and Paul, and it really, I mean, at least in my circle of friends and kind of the car guys I keep company with, like, it's what people are talking about. So it's a pretty crazy week.
Yeah. A lot of people initially, when this happened and the news broke, started talking about the actual car, how difficult it is to drive. Have you driven that car?
I have. I don't like. I mean, it's a good story, I guess, to say, oh, the car's hard to drive, but I've driven cars much harder to drive than that. Like, for instance, the last generation Viper is much more difficult. Like the Carrera GT, it stalls a lot because it has a light clutch.
Yeah.
But I didn't find it particularly difficult to drive. Now, there's a lot of stuff like, well, at 182 miles an hour is difficult, but you know what? All cars are difficult at that speed. And then there was a thing where Walter Roll, who Austrian rally car driver I've driven with many times, he said that on the Nürburgring in the wet it's very difficult. But that's, an extreme condition when it's raining. And I don't know, in Southern California, it's not that difficult to drive that car.
Yeah.
So, and the guy driving, Roger Rhodes, is an extremely experienced and capable driver. So.
Yeah, that's one of the things that caught my attention more because, I mean, there were 2 people that obviously knew what they were doing. I mean, they're not people who just got their driver's license like last week, right? So, I mean, obviously the investigation is going on and we won't really know, probably even after that, what really happened. But, I mean, what's your thought about that? I mean, what could have happened?
Well, I honestly, I don't even want to speculate. I mean, I think what you said, the key thing is until the investigation is complete, it's all speculation. Who knows? I don't know. To me, the frightening part is, 2 guys dying in a car crash. That's what I do for a living. I go and I drive cars.
Yeah.
And I drive high-performance cars quickly. We try and be always as safe as possible. But, I mean, how many times have I had a hot car and, like, picked up a friend of mine and, like, hey, check this thing out, So it's frightening. And really it's just a tragedy. I mean, let's say that it turns out that X happened. Well, I mean, what does that do? These guys are gone.
I know.
And, they're both really good guys. So like everyone, I'm curious to see what actually happened. I don't know, but I just think that, it's a real loss to the car community.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think hopefully something good will come out of this. I mean, some people will, like, as you said, like, be as safe as possible whenever they take the wheel. One thing that in the initial reports of the investigation said that maybe the car was going at 45 miles an hour, and some people think that that's not very fast. But, like, the IIHS, when they do their tests, they do it only at 40, and that the car sustained a lot of damage at that speed, right?
Yeah. Again, we don't know. And you don't know how they hit or, you just don't know. So it's totally, I just don't know. I mean, and I just don't want to speculate because who knows what happened. And again, I mean, the real story is that it's just a real tragedy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jonny, I've been enjoying following the news, reading your posts on social media and all that, but also enjoying everything at MotorTrend and on some more lighter and happier news. MotorTrend gave out this week the Truck of the Year award for the 2nd time to the Ram. That's pretty cool news.
They did. Hey, Javier, just before we move on, I do want to say one thing though. Just back to Paul Walker for just one second, and I'll move on to the Ram. Is that everyone I know who knew the guy, they said, the best thing that people can do, if they want to do anything, is to give some money to his charity. He has a charity called Reach Out Worldwide. and it's ROWW.org, and you can just go there, and they help support like relief efforts around the world for typhoons and earthquakes and all sorts of different disasters.
Yeah, which is what.
Say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. And which is what he was doing that day, right?
Yeah.
Promoting that. Yeah, absolutely. We'll post that. We'll post that and make sure that people know about that, and hopefully people will help.
And like I said, everyone I know that was friends with him. And just through a weird series of coincidences, I happen to know a lot of people, like the woman that did his makeup is like my wife's best friend and all this stuff. They all said that that's, the number one thing that people can do just so I kind of remember him is just to support that charity. But moving on to the Ram. Yes, the Ram 1500. For the first time since we started giving the award out back in the 70s, the Ram is the first back-to-back Truck of the Year winner. And what it came down to, really, I mean, it's an excellent truck. I'm actually have one parked out in the driveway right now. It's got this great 8-speed transmission, which it had last year. It has this wonderful air suspension, which it had last year. But what really, to us, when we give an of the year award, we want to find something that kind of marks a point in time, and that's the Ram's introduction of a small diesel, a very torquey but small diesel into the full-size truck segment. And for us, that just kind of pushed the whole lineup over the top. It was just that much better than all the other competition. Yeah,
that's pretty good. Yeah, I've driven that car too, and it's pretty amazing. And in that segment, the pickup trucks, I mean, it's hard to understand somehow how the Ford F-150 have been the number one sold vehicle in the States for 36 years, right?
Yeah. With no sign of slowing down. However, if any truck is going to chip away at it, we think that it's going to be the Ram 1500, just because it's you get this wonderful combination of functionality. It looks great. It rides and handles great. That air suspension was a real game changer. And now with the diesel, I mean, you can get some real economy. I mean, diesel does cost a little bit more than gasoline in most parts of the country. However, in some kind of anecdotal testing we did, we were seeing over 600 miles of range per tank. You compare that to a gasoline engine truck, and you're maybe 400 miles if you're lucky. It's just an absolutely incredible vehicle. So hats off to all the guys at Ram. That's just a really great job with this truck.
Yeah, and time is money. So when you are in your car and you're driving for that long, and you don't have to stop and plan for refueling and all that, so that figured out to be a good thing, I think, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the hardest part is that who can go in a car 600 miles without having to get out and go to the bathroom?
Well, yeah, that's another thing.
Cars are exceeding the drivers, but yeah, I mean, it's very efficient, and you don't have to stop and fill up all the time.
Yeah. So MotorTrend has given out already the SUV award for the year to the Subaru Forester and the CTS for the car, and now the truck is something else that I've been missing.
Yeah, the only other award we give out, and it's kind of later in the year, is our best driver's car. And so for 2013, and actually it was another back-to-back winner. The first time ever for best driver's car was the Porsche 911, the new one, the 991. And so in July we'll be testing the Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca for our next best driver's car, which is really just a way for us to get all the best and fanciest, newest high-performance cars and supercars and sports cars together, and shut down a road with the California Highway Patrol and go crazy for a couple of days, and then drive around a racetrack. And it's a lot of fun. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a lot of fun also to read it on the magazine and enjoying everything that you guys do there at MotorTrend. Well, Jonny Liberman, senior feature writer for MotorTrend, thank you very much for your time again, and I hope to see you soon at one of these events.
Yeah, Javier, anytime, man.
Thank you.
Este programa fue una producción de National Latino Broadcasting.